It is the Mosley Show, and our timing today, perfect. We can just hit the ground running, scrap our plans. Kevin, all the things that we had planned to open the show with, blow it up. Mavericks have made a big trade. I didn't even totally know who was running the Mavericks right now. I mean, they got Matt Riccardi. There it is. The breaking news. Matt Riccardi and Michael Finley. Good for them. Or Mark Cuban, whoever's running this thing. You know, Dumont had Patrick Dumont, and we don't have much faith there. Obviously, the owner had sort of sent the message to he wasn't in a hurry. I think there were even people who kind of wanted to see more of Anthony Davis. He is gone. Anthony Davis and his time with the Mavericks has come to an end. Oh, man. Kev, find us a good picture of Anthony. Yeah. Oh, there it is. And as you see right there, Mavs are trading the 10-time NBA All-Star Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum to the Wizards for Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, used to play for the Spurs, a decent shooter, Marvin Bagley III, and 2 first-round picks and 3 second-rounders, sources tell ESPN. All right, the players they're bringing back are mostly because they're taking on some contracts expiring, that kind of thing. Middleton, we remember him from his days with Giannis in Milwaukee, and certainly a great shooter, great former Texas A&M Aggie, but his best days are behind him in the NBA. This deal is completely about moving off of Anthony Davis. Didn't work. Golly, 1 year almost to the day of the Luka. I mean, think about that. You trade everything. You trade your entire franchise's future, and you end up with Anthony Davis, and barely a year later, you're unloading him. All right, get out of here. Dallas is receiving. Now, this one is the part. Focus in here, because this is what, and honestly, I got to study this. At first blush, my thought is it's probably about the best the Mavs could have done. Now, there will be people that say, "Oh, let him come back," and they could have done this in the summer, and they could have gotten a better, they could have gotten a fine deal, and maybe he could have come back and played a little bit this season, and reminded everybody of how great he is and all that kind of stuff. Whatever. The bottom line is Cooper Flag and this team, they need to move on and build around Cooper Flag, and they have some interesting pieces around him. Najee Marshall has been great. There was thought that the Lakers were wanting some of the Mavericks players like Gafford, Najee, and others, and the Mavericks had said, no thanks. We've already been down that road with the Lakers. That was a report earlier today from The Athletic. I want to make sure I give proper, that was, is it Dan Woike? W-O-I-K-E or Woke. Anyway, that was a story from him, but here's the deal. Here's the main part of this as we react to this in real time. Dallas is receiving this is Shams Charania breaking this news, and then everybody else is, of course, going with it now and confirming. We can confirm. Well, okay, great. Okay, glad you can confirm it. Shams generally seems to get most things right. Dallas is receiving a 2026 Thunder first-round pick. Okay. I mean, and you go, well, wait, the Thunder could win it all, and where will that pick be and all that? We'll get to that. Mavs already, we're trying to hopefully tank. This gives them 2 first-round picks going into the 2026 draft. And remember, between Darren Peterson and DeBonsa, and the kid out of Houston, Parker Flemings. I mean, this is Sanok, another great big man out of Houston. Tunde Yesufu out of Baylor. Like literally, I mean, the Cam Carr out of Baylor. I'm just thinking of all. There's a bunch. This is a stacked 2026 draft. We're already here in the 2027 draft. Is not that great. Some of you are going to give me a hard time for coming up with Baylor players. Well, they are projected to go in the first round. Okay, so I'm not just making things up. Mavericks receiving 2026 Thunder first round pick and a 2030 protected Warriors first round pick in this deal from the Wizards, along with second rounders in 2026, 27, and 29. Okay, if you can get 2 first round picks, I mean, it's better than the freaking. I mean, you should have gotten more picks when they brought Anthony Davis in. They got the 1. Goodness gracious, what a joke! What a joke that trade was. Looking back, the fact that they didn't go out and shop it around and actually get way more that they could have got. I mean, just the embarrassment of that trade. And of course, Nico is now gone. So he does this in a little bit more, just a couple of days past a year since the ultimate shocking trade of the day that will live in infamy, February 2nd, 2025. And here we are in early February 2026. And Anthony Davis has been traded. Wow. There you go. The Wizards. It had been reported that the Raptors were interested. Raptors having a pretty good season this year and wanted to add to their young core. And then, the Wizards have an interesting young team and Anthony Davis, whatever. Man, I'm not even going to play that game. You know what'll happen. He'll go there, he'll get hurt, and he'll miss a ton of games. It's what he does. When he plays, he's great, but he doesn't play that often. He's now been out, and they thought he's going to be out for the rest of the season, but maybe he's not out the rest of the season. Wizards already out of it for this year at least, but maybe moving forward, they will be an interesting team. And they have Trey Johnson, who's close to my heart, because he led our local high school team to a state title. So I am moderately interested in the Wizards moving forward, but obviously we're more interested in these Dallas Mavericks. Appreciate everybody who's joining us as we talk about this trade live. This is really interesting, and I'm kind of in real time also wanting to see kind of what's coming in on this and how everybody's reacting to this. Bill Simmons, the famous NBA writer from The Ringer, you never know when the Wiz are going to whiz it up. That's what he said 11 minutes ago. You never know when the Wiz are going to whiz it up. All right. And we'll have people reacting to this and all this kind of stuff. I mean, again, is Anthony Davis a great player? Yes, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's tremendous. He's a top 75 all-time player in the NBA. He's already been added to that list. He's already made that list. We can't take him off. But he's infuriating. He's maddening. I mean, there was this thought that, oh my gosh, we'll put him, and you got Cooper, and you got Kyrie, and this is going to be unbelievable. Like putting all these guys together, and they lucked out, and they got Cooper Flag, but again, he's never available, and so we're never going to get to truly see what they tried to envision with the Mavs. But again, no matter what they envisioned, the whole thing was a joke. When they made that trade, and now he is gone. And let's see, there'll be more news coming in associated with this trade. There was another trade that happened right after that the Sixers were involved with, but again, I'm not that interested in that, as we say. Wizards' thought process is coming in. The thought is, with the intent to be competitive next season, Washington adds a 10-time All-Star big to pair with Trae Young, without giving up homegrown young talent or premium picks. All right. Now, they got that Thunder pick is what the Mavs bring back. The Mavs now shed. This is Tim McMahon, my old friend from the Dallas Morning News days, writes for ESPN.com now. Mavs shed about $70 million from their payroll next season and add a couple of future picks. This trade for the Mavs is about prioritizing flexibility as they build around Cooper Flagg. Now, we'll see who even, some of these guys they got back, Branham, Bagley III, will be buyout. These are just contracts they have. Whether Middleton ever plays for them, who knows? These are not anything to think, oh my gosh, they look at this interesting player. Look at AJ John. I mean, there might be something we look at and go, interesting. So yesterday, this is happening, by the way, as Cooper Flagg is going on this huge heater that he's on. 119 points in a 3-game span, the most ever by a teenager in a 3-game stretch. He had 34 last night in that loss to the Rockets. I was at the game. He had 49 against the Hornets. And then he had the 36 points in a loss to the Celtics. All right. The Celtics game was last night. Sorry. Celtics game, they lost by 10. They played the Rockets recently, and then they had a Hornets game where he had 49. So he is on an all-time heater for a rookie. And now they at least have these picks, and they have the dreaded financial flexibility. All right, great. Hang a banner. They got financial flexibility. At least they got a couple of picks. All right, I know one of them's in 2030, and you barely care about that one. Again, these things are assets. It's not necessarily like, oh, wait till 2030 and we got this pick and all. It's, that's looked at as an asset. That's what, when you team that actually know what they're doing, like the Pistons and the Jazz, they have tons of young players, tons of assets, and they occasionally come to a fork in the road and they go, hey, what's going on? Should we keep losing and having all these assets, or should we go for it? And like yesterday, the Jazz went for it. Kev, I felt good about my reaction to that trade, because the rest of the NBA and last night I was reading all about it, that people kind of went crazy over that trade. And part of this is because not much has been happening really, as opposed to some deadlines. And so when something significant happens, it takes on kind of a huge thing. What the Jazz did is decided, you know what? Let's go be really good next season. Let's go try to make the playoffs. I mean, I don't think they're going to win a title, but now they've got Lauri Markkanen and Keontae George to go along with Jaren Jackson Jr., who can defend, can actually create plays, can dribble, can shoot, has mid-range game, and will shoot threes. I mean, so the Jazz got better. The Mavs just got this albatross, this eyesore out of here. All right, this is what this is about, okay? Financial flexibility, the picks, the 2 first-round picks, fine. Nobody cares on these other players they brought in. All right. You should think of those people as, some of them may have a locker for a little while. Some of them might, who knows? Maybe I'll look it up in a minute and go, AJ Johnson from the Wizards. Let's look real quick, Kev, and just see if any of these guys do anything for, again, this is just taking people off their hands. All right. Yesterday, for instance, AJ Johnson, 24 minutes, 14 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. They got beat by 30. Okay, they got beat by 31. They got beat by the Knicks. So again, they're young, interesting, but they suck. I'm talking about the Wizards. So this young guy, AJ Johnson, got in there last night and actually played pretty well, I have to say. He previously played for the in the NBL, the Australian League, and now he is with the Dallas Mavericks. He is a point guard / shooting guard, and born in Fresno, California. All right, so that is his, and he was the 23rd overall pick, first round pick in 2024, drafted by the Milwaukee Bucks. That's who that is. All right, that's who AJ Johnson is. So, in an NBA game, he scored 14 points. They got blown out by 30 last night. He played. He was okay. When's the last time Chris Middleton played? Let's see, because he has had some injuries here recently. Played last night, 22 minutes, 12 points, 2 assists, and 2 rebounds. All right. He's a 3-time All-Star, and he's 34 years old. All right. 6'7", and has been a long time great shooter in the NBA. But again, this is not about, oh my gosh, they got Chris Middleton, or oh my gosh, they got AJ Johnson or Malachi Branham, who I do think used to play for the Spurs, if memory serves correct. This is about, you freed up $70 million in payroll for next year, and you unload this guy that, again, fair or unfair, just became kind of the face of failure, in the sense of he was not embraced because he was coming back for Luka, the beloved Luka Doncic. And so, people hated the trade so much, and he came in, and even in his first game, he played extremely well, and he tried to fire up the crowd and all that kind of stuff, and he got hurt, because that's what he does. How many games has he played in this season? Mavs are 19-31. All right. That comes out to about 50 games into this 82-game slot. He's played in, I believe, 20 games. 20 of 50 games. Is that good? No. Is that unusual? No. They put him with LeBron in the COVID, when they put him in the lockdown NBA, and they won the dadgum title. Was that the 2019-20 season? I believe it was. He is great. He is a tremendous player. But much like players of the past that the Mavs have had, like Kristaps Porzingis, he's in that camp. He's in that camp of somebody that the Mavs thought, oh, man, look what we can do. They did a big trade years ago for Rajon Rondo, who had some great years with the Celtics, and had been a weird, eclectic, maddening type player, but had helped lead the Celtics. He was a young point guard on their title team, I believe, but put up some great numbers and was an interesting player, if nothing else, and it did not work. All right. Most times, players that are a headache and people are sort of ready to get rid of, they're not going to come to your place and be great. I.e., what I thought we were going to talk about, start the show today, was this huge James Harden trade. Clippers, and Harden was fine with the Clippers, and quite honestly, he was not as big a headache as he's been at other places, like the Rockets, where he had an incredible run. And as a young player, he was great on those OKC teams, but he was ready to have his own team, and so they traded him. And I'm trying to think. There's so many trades involving Harden, it's hard to even remember what went down for some of those things. But now he is with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he teams up with Donovan Mitchell and a pretty good young team. And I mean, Cavs may have something. I mean, I got to say, as much as I know people dislike Harden and some of his antics, he's another guy that unless the NFL's voting on him, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Same for Anthony Davis. They're going to go into that basketball Hall of Fame. It's going to happen in a hurry when it's time for that to happen, because they've had tremendous and great careers. But in the span of 24 hours, both of those players, I would say of Harden, and at times he's out of shape. At times he has too much nightlife, and all that stuff could be and is true. Does he show up and play? Yeah, for the most part. Harden's not a guy who's going to miss a ton of time because of injuries like in Anthony Davis. So I would say in the Wizards' case, they've got a damaged goods, but these teams always think, oh my gosh, look at us. We now have Trae Young and Anthony Davis and a young Trey Johnson, who I love, by the way. And this Bilal Coulibaly or whatever. We got all these young players. We could be great. And the truth is, they could, in a universe where this guy doesn't always get hurt, because he does. And it's a frustrating thing that the Mavs have had. But this is good for Cooper, because like what you don't want, this great run that Cooper Flagg's been on, if Anthony Davis was going to come back, you needed Anthony Davis to like play around Cooper. And Anthony Davis has such exalted status in this league, and he's an NBA champion, and he's a great NBA player, that his ego is such that he can't just like at age 32 or 33, whatever he is, he can't just play second fiddle. Like, that was the amazing thing about Kyrie, is Kyrie realized for one of the first times in his career, you know what? This Luka Doncic is pretty dang awesome. I think maybe I can be second to him, and I can be a great mentor. And Kyrie Irving became some kind of like elder statesman, and he helped lead the Mavs to the finals. And then again, the Mavericks saw fit, like, oh, this man was seen drinking beer. Oh my gosh, a 24-year-old having a beer. Let's take the beer away from him. And by the way, let's trade him to the Lakers. All he's doing for the Lakers is just making them completely relevant again for the next 10 years. And he's going to be their star player and the face of their franchise. This is the face of the Mavs franchise now. And the last thing he needs is an aging superstar who's always injured, just kind of hanging around, gumming things up. So the Mavs got kind of what they needed. Free up cap space. Couple of first-round picks. The more interesting one is the Thunder's pick in this 2026 draft. Now the Mavericks have 2 first-round picks coming up in the draft, and they can make some noise. They can make some noise. I don't think there's going to be Mr. Conspiracy Theory Kevin, who I'm sure loves the fact that the Mavs got Cooper Flagg, and probably believes all the conspiracy theories that after what they did with sending Luka to the Lakers, the NBA found a way to reward them with the great Cooper Flagg. So they got one generation talent here in Cooper Flagg, and now they'll try to go in a very deep NBA draft where the guards, Darren Peterson, Parker Fleming from University of Houston, Cam Boozer from Duke. Now, he's not a guard, but I'm just talking about the deep talent that is in this draft. And you just go player by player, and you look and you just go, dang, man, that freshman. I mean, Baylor's not any good this year, and sitting there at 2-7 in conference, desperately needing a win over Colorado tonight. And they have 2 projected first-round picks in Tunde Yesufu and Cam Carr. And if I were Cam Carr, I honestly would think about. I would think about letting some college team, hopefully Baylor, pay you huge money to come back for one more year, even though he's projecting to go the first round. Probably Cam Carr will. His dad was a NBA player. Now, that's one reason I think he could stay in college basketball. And Baylor has, I don't know. That'll be interesting to see. But anyway, not to get bogged down in that because we'll have later in the program to talk about Baylor. Do want to remind you that Nick Harris, our buddy that is in San Francisco running around covering the Super Bowl this week, has been at the Senior Bowl. He is going to jump on with us at 2:00 today. We'll have Nick Harris, and we'll spend some time with him. Nick may even have some talks on the Anthony Davis trade, and then we have things pouring in on this trade. I always love to see, kind of what everybody thinks about it. I just think it frees up the space. You got 2 picks for him, and you just move on with him. Now, the Wizards' thought process, which we care less about, we care less about. It said, Tim McMahon says the intent is to be competitive next season. Wizards add a 10-time All-Star big to pair with Trae Young without giving up homegrown young talent or premium picks. Shams Charania breaks this huge news. Now, this is where things kind of get interesting. Kevin, I'll send you this tweet for later in the program because this is the financial part of this that gets my attention. Mavs now have, this is from Bobby Marks from ESPN, who is a former GM and is like a salary cap expert. There is a salary cap expert. Mavericks now have the resources, starting with a likely lottery pick and a late first, and financial roster resources to build their roster around Cooper Flagg. Dallas has $150 million in guaranteed money next year, well below the tax and apron. For this season, Dallas drops below the luxury tax in both aprons. They have flexibility in the next 24 hours to continue building up their draft assets. That means players like Klay Thompson, Daniel Gafford, Najee Marshall, Max Christie, whoever people might look at. They in this trade they just made D'Angelo Russell and who else did I tell you guys? Some of these players just left in a trade. Anthony Davis, obviously, but they had a couple of other players that were traded, but they still have a few players left that they could trade, and they could get even more draft assets. That's going to be an interesting thing. So the interesting thing is, and let's credit either Cuban or Matt Riccardi or Michael Finley or whoever the heck is running the Mavs organization right now, because these are interesting moves that give you way more financial flexibility and more resources here. So, man, what a way to start the day. And I like this one too, Kev. I'm going to send you this one because this lays out visually, at least, kind of the way this thing plays out. I'm just looking at Sports Center right now, and you can kind of see who all was out, who comes in. I just wanted a big graphic of that. Who all's coming back to the Mavericks? Who's leaving? All right, Jaden. Remember, it's Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum. Exum's been hurt a lot, had his moments, former Jazz, but aging point guard, whatever. D'Angelo Russell, they brought in to play point guard. He fell out of favor with Jason Kidd. He hadn't played in like 3 weeks, whatever. Jaden Hardy, these are the players they're trading. Jaden Hardy kind of had his moments, kind of a nice scorer, but just not consistent enough to really be a big part of the rotation, whatever. Anthony Davis, goodbye. Goodbye, sweet prince. We will see you on the other side. He heads out. And he'll be, he has to, I just think it's funny. He went to the Mavs, all right? Big time trade. They're going to match him with Kyrie Irving. And then they're going to match him up with the godsend that was Cooper Flagg. But he ends up in a Wizards uniform. Best of luck to a swell fella. Golly. I want out of the Pelicans. Trade me. I'm not going to play anymore for the Pelicans. I know I was great here, and I made this organization, but I want out. All right, Anthony, we're going to take care of you, and we're going to let you play with LeBron as you go title hunting. And lo and behold, if they didn't do it, they did it in an arena that had no fans in it. They did it in the COVID-free NBA Finals. And so he hung around with the Lakers for a little while and had to play kind of second fiddle to LeBron. LeBron has never played second fiddle to anybody until now because Luka has arrived there. Luka is the future. And, of course, LeBron is frustrated and would love to be out. We all know that. We knew it the day that thing happened. He's been fine with LeBron. With Luka, and it's not like it's blown up or anything, but the guy hates not being the constant center of attention. All right. And in a little bit of a related LeBron move today, I noticed University of Arizona, number one team of the country, they have elected to redshirt the other son, not Bronny, because Bronny's already in the NBA, another son of LeBron's that's on that roster. For Arizona, he'll redshirt and come back next year. That's what Bronny should have done. Bronny should have done that at USC. Had the heart thing, and then he came back and tried to play and averaged about 6 points a game. Why? Redshirt, sit out a year, come back the next year, try to be good. Try to be a good player, all right? Try to earn your own name. Try to earn your own keep. I mean, you'll always be considered LeBron's son, but this is good by the LeBron family and by Arizona. Stay there another year, learn under Tommy Lloyd, and this is great. Now, is there a chance that this kid will somehow enter the draft and do something ridiculous? Sure. Because LeBron is making all the decisions. But for now, this is actually a smart decision. Redshirt the kid and then let him get ready for next year. Last thing in the world Arizona needs to be doing is trying to work LeBron's son into a rotation as they go for the perfect season. All right, huge news to start the day. Big time guest at 2:00. We'll do a little Campus Confidential here, and we'll anxious to do that. Kevin, this has been a busy start to the show, but I think for good reason, because this is a major trade. We'll have more on Anthony Davis being traded from the Mavericks. Mavericks pick up 2 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, but more importantly, major financial flexibility. All right. And again, I make fun of it. Nobody sells season tickets on, hey man, come out and watch how financially flexible we are. This is one of the most financial flexible teams in the league. Come see us, man. We've got great flexibility in that area. No, it's about Cooper Flagg. Every move headed forward is about him. And 2 first-round picks in the 2026 draft. Get excited. That is something to be excited about. Again, you get this guy out of here who is just a constant reminder of Luka being gone. Move him out and let him go rest in obscurity in RIO. Rest in obscurity. All right, Kevin, that may be good. I may start that instead of RIP. But the tenure of Anthony Davis, AD, in a Dallas Mavericks uniform is over. All right, Campus Confidential, and then we have major guest at 2:00. Stay with us. It is the Matt Mosley Show.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform
at your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
Save big during the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Waco. Drive a new Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab with $13,000 off, or choose 0% financing. Get a new Laramie Crew Cab 4-wheel drive with 3.9% financing for 72 months, plus $15,000 off MSRP. Explore in a new Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo, starting at $31,990. Happening now at Allen Samuels.
Come by. Let's be friends.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Dive into adventure with scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. Samsonite.
So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone, like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on their screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. So get your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Make it pop.
Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Golf Partner, overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com.
Designed to elevate the off-road experience, enabling adventurers to conquer any terrain. For 50 years, you've trusted us on your toughest recoveries, to your most breathtaking destinations, and in countless unforgettable memories.
Oh, and now we are back to the show. I like that, Kevin. I like our little messages to people out there. Wow. All my group texts are just lighting up. Thank you, Central National Bank. Thank you for what you do. Thank you, Ascension, for all that you do. We're in negotiations right now with Ascension. We may bring them right on back. We've had a really great run with them over the years. We talked to basically every doctor in the system. And really, I got to say, Kev, it's pretty amazing. Baylor Scott and White is really wanting to get in business with us based on some of the things we've done and some of our reach out there and some of the things the Doomsday Podcast has accomplished that I do with Ed Werder. And that's a really awesome deal. And we are just thrilled that unbelievable partners like Schmaltz, the great sandwich shop, like Brazos Landing, Cherry Johnson, Siegmund James, the tremendous law firm in town. People want to do business with the Mosley Show. And they did it with us when we were at ESPN Central Texas. And you never know. I didn't just assume they would all follow me to my new destination. And if they didn't do it, if they didn't say, we're going to stay in the Mosley business. And we've loved having them over at Rogue. And Corey Dickman, our fearless leader and founder, had a big meeting the other day with another group that I've had great friendship with over the years here recently, and they're looking to come over and be a part of the Mosley Show. And then, Kev, 2 local legends, Waco legends, in their various respective media careers are, I'm told, any minute now, as soon as like Monday, could be making their way over to Rogue Media Network. I just need to be whatever part of the company, Kevin, that sends you to the Super Bowl. My gosh, I went to it for years.
That's what I'm saying.
I would think Mosley would have been their number 1 pick to do that. The Mosley Show is what we should have, but that's okay. Right. That's okay. We didn't exactly advocate
Mosley and then Mendoza, like in that.
Yeah. And we should. It's like I think we just thought they would pick us. Like it was a no-brainer that we would be their first pick, and it didn't happen. So now we have to just complain about it. Now all we can do is just say, "What were you guys thinking?"
Next year it's in LA, so maybe
I can go there. I can have a good time there, and I have places that I.
Let's just not broadcast from Skid Row. Let's not do that.
I don't even know exactly where that is in LA.
It's probably a good thing.
Yeah. I do know where the what's the boardwalk? Not Sunset Boulevard, but what's the beach that has the incredible boardwalk? Santa Monica Beach.
Yeah.
So Santa Monica Beach, I've got a place there that I would take you, Kevin, that is just like, ooh, what happened there?
Oh.
Am I just moving around a lot or something?
Doing a zoom in here.
It's like, how can we prevent that? I don't need. Okay, look here. I'll just move back a little bit. Can you still hear me? Golly, man, that zoom in was really something. It came high and tight on me there. What's up, guys? That's why I have these sunglasses on. These eyes could. I mean, especially when I haven't slept much, they can scare people. Oh, I didn't even turn on the lights though. Look here. Hold on here as I get this. Look at that. Up in my face. Now, come on, camera. I wonder what I would say to it to get it to stop doing that. All right, let's do a little Campus Confidential because we've got major college basketball tonight. We'll let you hear a little bit from Scott Drew later in the program. Although, gosh, this Anthony Davis thing has really grabbed our attention. Why did it do that? Why did it come so? Kev, how do I get this camera away from me? The camera loves me, but I feel like the close up kind of adds a few pounds. I don't need that. Okay, Kev, what do you have for us in today's edition? Yesterday, you brought us probably the worst slate of college basketball games I could ever remember on a Tuesday. I did go look at one that I found interesting.
Did you watch my Hoosiers?
No, but I went to CBS Sports Network, and I turned on something that was like mildly interesting to me. The St. Louis Billikens, because they were like 21-1 or something.
Okay, yep.
They interest me, and so it's SLU we like to call them. I took a peek at SLU, and then I took a peek at I think Chris Beard got real mad last night, got kicked out of a game. I think that was happening, or maybe that happened Monday for all I know. But then last night I feel like there was an SEC game. You'd brought up South Carolina, but I looked at another one that, no, it wasn't SEC. NC State was playing someone.
Yep.
And that game, here we go. I think we're back to normal here. My gosh, this is the most active little camera I have. The Insta. I've got that Insta 365 thing. And I mean, if you even breathe, it'll kind of do some stuff. Let's get back here. All right, buddy. What do we have tonight in Campus Confidential? And just a reminder, we did open the show today. Kevin, because I think we had a lot of good stuff. So let's make sure Zach has plenty of options today.
Yep.
But our whole first 37 minutes was on this huge. The Mavericks have traded Anthony Davis, and D'Angelo Russell and Jaden Hardy and Dante Exum, but the Anthony Davis is the big one, and it doesn't even matter what they're bringing back in terms of players. Really, it's about the draft picks. They did get 2 first-round picks. It's more than the Mavericks got for freaking Luka Doncic, but 2 first-round draft picks and 3 second-round picks. But more importantly, huge amount of money comes off the books.
And favor in the lottery, let's be honest.
Yeah, the lottery. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
but
they're gonna get it again. They're gonna
Yeah.
get it again, even though the Pacers have a worse record. They're gonna get it again.
Well,
and they're
I
gonna
don't know.
bring in Darren Peterson, who is gonna be another injury-prone problem. And there you go.
Well, I would settle, because with Anthony Davis we have years and years and years. With Darren Peterson, we only have a little bit of high school in this weird college season. But I would hold my nose and not worry about any of that if Darren Peterson were there. Or I'm kind of thinking in my mind, if Debonsa is so talented, if you could get him, you just find a way to make that work with Flag. I mean, some would say, well, they're kind of the same size and same position, but I kind of think you'd have to get creative. He's enough talent that you wouldn't say at number 2, I think I'll pass on Debonsa and take somebody else. Like, you would find a way to make that work. And by the way, Cooper is a incredible playmaker. Debonsa has some of that ability as well. Again, those are great enough players. It's not like when the Celtics got their two big time players that led them to a NBA championship a couple of years ago. They didn't say, well, these guys are kind of the same. Tatum and Brown are they're the same kind of size and they kind of do some of the same. No, they found a way to make it work together. So anyway, that would be a great problem to have. What's more likely is this year the Mavs will pick where they're supposed to pick, which is probably in the neighborhood of like 8 or 9, and they'll get a great player because this is a deep draft. The 2027 draft is not shaping up to be that great, by the way. It's not looking that great. Anyway, maybe the Mavs will get Tunde and Cameron Carr. Get both the Baylor's players.
Well,
right,
they could have gotten VJ last year, and they didn't.
Well, yeah, but I think we're okay with that. Who they took,
I don't think
right?
you should be. I think, in my opinion, Flag needed an extra year. VJ was more ready, and but
I mean, you realize that's what do you mean? Flag needed an extra year in college?
Yes.
Are you watching this? He just had 3 straight games. Okay, you need to move off that take, and you need to move off that take in a hurry because you do not want to take that anywhere. All right, what do you have for me in Campus Confidential?
So today is signing day for Robinson High School running back Evan Moreno. He's going to Arkansas Tech. Meanwhile, as discussed earlier, Bryce McCurdy, who is his quarterback and will graduate next year, his offers include, in addition to Baylor, Arizona, Cincinnati, Houston, Ole Miss, SMU, Texas Tech, and TCU. Having watched many of the Robinson games, Evan Moreno seemed to be the engine to make it work. What do you think is the difference? Why the quarterback market is so high when we've seen the resurgence in the NFL over the last couple of years of the running back position, where the running back ends up with a D2 school while the quarterback has multiple D1 offers 2 years before he graduates?
Well, it's just the level of importance, and honestly, even if a high school running back puts up some huge numbers like what you're talking about, if they for whatever reason at the camps decide the speed, the size, or whatever they're looking for isn't there, then it's not going to happen. Now, all it would take for this guy you're talking about would be for like the University of Houston or somebody come along, or TCU, and say, oh, we kind of like this guy. And then everybody else would offer him. All right. And it would be more than what you're talking about, like an Arkansas Tech or something. But this quarterback has the size, the numbers, and all it took, quite honestly, and whatever he went, whoever gave him that first offer, and if it was TCU, whoever was the biggest school that gave him that first offer, everybody started. I've seen it happen with Baylor time and time again. There's the starting quarterback at Colorado State this year. He used to be at TCU. Then he went to Oklahoma State. Then he got hurt at Oklahoma State, and now he's at Colorado State. He was an unbelievable high school quarterback who Baylor loved. But Baylor didn't offer him until TCU offered him. And that's why and by the way, some people still say recruiting doesn't start until a guy commits, because sometimes a guy will commit and then these other schools get interested. It's almost like the guy who's dating somebody is more interesting to women than the guy who's single. You know, it's that whole kind of concept or whatever. Now, I'm a little bit, now again, this kid's I'm interested because it's Robinson. I get all that. But there's another guy that decommitted yesterday from TCU that Baylor had been in on for 2027. And that interests me. The way it was reported, Sam Spiegelman had this report on 247 or wherever he works, and Rivals maybe. Anyway, that one interests me because it looked like he and TCU had a mutual parting of the ways, but Baylor had been in on this kid. So, by the way, just because you offered the Robinson kid doesn't mean you can't make another quarterback offer. You know, you can't. Right. You can't. You gotta know that you might not get the Robinson kid. Baylor had all these local kids, and then, you know, a day or two before the signing day, two of them departed. Baylor lost a quarterback a few years ago to Oregon on the day. And by the way, that kid, Novosad, is now playing for, like, you talk about D2. It's not D2, but it's like he's off playing somewhere where nobody, you know. And I remember Baylor had so many tears about losing Trey Novosad, and the kid basically never did anything at Oregon. What else do you have? Oh, wait a second. I need to look at our deal here. Okay, give me one more, and then we'll get ready for Nick Harris to join us.
All right. So there's college basketball, but I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact, as a father of 3 girls myself, this is National Girls and Women in Sports Day. So, with the Pro Bowl flag football game just happening and the upcoming Olympics in a couple of years, will women's flag football play a role in the college sports landscape with all that, and the NFL trying to grow the game internationally related to the Olympics and their flag football initiative?
You know, I love that that girls are playing it, and I think it's great. And I think anything that brings more people to the game. I love playing flag football. I'll be interested to see what it happens at the Olympics with it. From a viewing standpoint, last night I just had zero interest. I watched George Pickens catch a great ball in the back of the end zone on the highlights. No interest in who was playing quarterback. It just, from a visual standpoint, TV or whatever, I'm so used to football a certain way, watching people in flags with wearing ball caps or ski caps, whatever you call those, beanies. Some people call them beanies. Zero interest. Okay. So that last night, whatever happened last night doesn't help anything. It doesn't advance flag football.
I would contend that you were watching 11-man tackle football players struggle to play a game that they don't quite understand because there are differences of rules. If you actually go watch, which they actually did have on television, the women's AFC, NFC game, where they are used to the rules and how the game works, that is actually very entertaining because you have a double pass rule. and multiple different eligibility down the field rules and things like that. So I would contend that it's players that are not familiar with the game that actually make it not entertaining at the Pro Bowl level.
I'll take your word for it.
All right,
we got
D1 colleges that are D1 colleges that are entertaining this idea. Rutgers, South Florida, UCF, UCLA, and USC all set to have programs for women's flag football.
Awesome. I'm up for that. And if I was a Rutgers graduate, I'd be away watching that before I'd watch their tackle football team. All right, to Mosley Show. Nick Harris from the Super Bowl joins us next.
Ready for a better kind of primary care?
At Patient First Direct Primary Care, you get unlimited office visits with same-day or next-day availability.
And instead of rushed appointments, we take the time to actually listen.
There are no insurance hassles, just clear, simple care.
You can reach us by phone or text because access shouldn't be complicated. Our practice has expanded to include Medicare-age patients as part of our direct primary care model.
It's a fresh alternative to the traditional insurance or government-driven systems, care that finally puts you first.
For more information, go to patientfirstdirect.com.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. And when it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. With the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud.
Here's a tip. Don't click on links in emails and text messages. Scammers send emails and texts that look real, saying there's a problem with your account or your order. Don't click. Don't do it, ever. Instead, go directly to the company's website and log in there.
This message is brought to you by Central National Bank.
Bubble wasn't here. I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
At Covers and All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Better sleep, inspired by nature. Your back, hips, and shoulders will fall into perfect alignment in any position, meaning that you get deeper, more comfortable rest. Visit ecoterrabeds.com.
Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and organichemp.com.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
At Mapiful, we believe in celebrating your journey. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mapiful.com and start celebrating your story today.
It is the Matt Mosley Show right here on Rogue Media Network. And Nick Harris, boy, his timing is always impeccable. He is running around San Francisco. He's monitoring the Pro Bowl. He just gotten back from the Senior Bowl. Let's bring him on. Nick Harris, our reporter in the field. There he is. Nick, where are you right now? Are you close by Radio Row? Where are you in town right now?
Yeah, I'm on the third floor of this convention center. Radio Row's on the first floor, and found a little space on the floor of the third floor here that I can post up and put it on my knees, and let's get it going, Matt Mosley.
I like that. And you could just walk around and take us on a tour of the the entire facility in there. But yeah, I used to spend hours upon hours in that Super Bowl workroom. And at some point, I realized the last few years, because I was doing radio for the last, I don't know, decade or so, that I was like, does anybody go in there anymore? And there'd be a few, but a lot of times it's pretty, in this day and age where everybody does it from the hotel or does it from wherever, it's not quite as crowded. But boy, back in the day, Nick, we used to all go in there because we had to get our transcripts. Yeah. And so there would be somebody announcing and it was the guy, it was a famous Packers guy, Lee Rummel, I think was his name.
Yeah.
And he would say, so-and-so's transcript is ready now. And then we'd go in there and gather. Just think how many trees have suffered for just the thousands upon thousands of pages of those transcripts. But, well, I appreciate you doing this, and we'll try to be respectful and get you back to wherever you need to be. Super Bowl's fun because, you got the media party, you have media day, which is always a circus. And then you got the Pro Bowl to kind of take a peek. What has been the most interesting thing you've taken part in so far? Is it the fun stuff? Is there anything from an actual preparing and work kind of stuff, and maybe being around Pickens or Dak and those guys? What's been the most interesting part of your week so far?
Well, I will say, Matt, the media party was kind of a dud. It wasn't good this year.
Wow.
It was a fire hazard the whole time. They packed way too many people into one room, and I was like, you know what? I'm catching the first bus out of here. But overall, it's been a good week. I would say that adding the Pro Bowl to this week definitely adds a layer of intrigue because, not only is it, all the big times that are here for Radio Row, it's all the big times that are here for the Pro Bowl, and they all stay in the same hotel right down the street, and easy access to these guys before and after practice. I flew in on Monday, touchdown, came straight here to speak to these guys after practice, got here a little late and was still able to get whoever I wanted on the field. So it was super cool. And it's just it's a chill environment. So I just got done talking with Joe Milton, and it's one of the best conversations I've had with Joe Milton, just because he's not rushing to get out, go to a position meeting or anything like that when I typically catch him at the Star, whereas he's here to talk to us. So it's good. I like this environment, and it's one of my favorite trips every year.
Yeah, that's interesting. And of course, Pickens is a big topic for everybody right now. Now, did you actually watch the entire Pro Bowl flag football game? How did you experience that?
Yeah, so I had gotten everyone I needed at the practices, and I elected to go to the media party rather than the Pro Bowl. Bad decision. I'm not going to make that mistake again next year. I'm hitting the Pro Bowl, and George Pickens may win MVP again, and I can redeem myself.
Did you even grab a free drink or any of the hors d'oeuvres? Was there anything decent to eat there? Now, we've had some media parties. One time in Jacksonville, they took us out to the golf course in that famous island hole at TPC Sawgrass.
Yeah.
We got to actually take shots at that. And I think Hootie and the Blowfish were there, or at least Darius Rucker was performing that night. But I remember that being kind of a nice, pretty cool party.
No, it felt like a 10-year reunion high school banquet for a 3A, for Mart High School. It wouldn't even be a 3A. It wasn't good. I went to New Orleans last year, and that was my first one, and it was phenomenal. The food was great. The music was awesome. It was spread out. It had great views. This was at the EA headquarters, Electronic Arts, and so they had Madden set up and CFB to where you could play the video games, but it was so crowded, Matt, and by the end of it, or by the midway point, I was like, all right, I'm getting out of here.
All right, I 2003 I went to the ESPN party, and down below there was pretty decent group playing, and we kind of went down there on the first floor. Dan Patrick was hanging out down there. We thought, I think we've come to the right place. It seems like a good floor to be on. And it was the early days of the Black Eyed Peas. And I don't even know if they had completely busted out yet in 2003, but that's who was playing. I remember there was a female singer that was somewhat attractive and was very talented, and that happened to be Fergie. So yeah, that was back when ESPN was spending enormous money on some of those parties and everything. But things have changed a little bit. Now, ESPN will still put on a really good party, but that's interesting. So as you talk to a lot of those players, and I'm sure you even visited with some players, even about maybe the Cowboys staff, all of that. Anything I saw you writing, I read your story about George Pickens. Anything that came from that surprised you at all? Like, does Pickens? I don't think we know how players would take like the franchise tag. Let's say they do franchise tag them. You never know like how they'll view that or how that experience will be until it happens.
Exactly.
Because they can all say, yeah. And we saw how Dak handled it. We've all seen how other players handle it. They dislike it so much that they either try not to show up or they're very disgruntled the whole time. Are you, after kind of talking to him and being around different people, do you have any better sense of how this thing's going to go?
I expect them to franchise tag him when that window opens here in a couple of weeks, actually. I expect that to happen. And I don't necessarily see it as something that will play into the season. I say necessarily because the caveat is Jerry Jones here. But if they do place the franchise tag on him, they would have until July 15th to work out a long-term extension. Once that July 15th mark is hit, they can't do anything. So as far as like a training camp holdout, it's possible. There's some scenarios where that does play in, but it's going to be different than the ones we've dealt with in the last few years with CD when he held out, or Dak when he was dealing with the same year last year with Micah Parsons. This one's a little bit different because his contract is actually up rather than going into the final year. So, I see this playing out in a scenario where he's franchise tagged. They work all the way until July 15th to try to figure out what an extension looks like for both sides. There's probably some words exchanged here or there. I think the event that we're going to find out the most about this contract negotiation is owners' meetings. All the owners will meet up in Phoenix, Arizona, last few days of March, first few days of April. That was the famous quote from Jerry last year when he said he didn't know David Mulligetta's name. And that's when those negotiations really heated up. So that's going to be the event this year where we learn the most as far as progress on where that extension really is, because I expect the franchise tag to be placed by then. I expect them to have already begun talks by then. And, speaking on George Pickens' side, I don't get the sense that they would play under the tag. And so I'm curious to see how this does play out. But talking to all the Cowboys players here, I mean, it's unanimous. They want him back, no doubt. But that hasn't stopped guys like Micah Parsons and some of the other players here from trying to recruit him over to their teams too.
I heard you mentioned that, Micah's been kind of interesting and all that. I'm glad in your interviews, and I like reading all your stuff, but, when you post all these things, unlike Clarence, our good buddy, there's not a lot of cackling involved. And I forget what one of the players said something, mildly funny, and Clarence, as only he could. The cackling is all I remember from that interview. Now, let me ask you this. Jerry Jones, what's his ETA for the Super Bowl? And do we think this will be a Cowboys? Will the luxury bus arrive in California, or will the yacht somehow find its way there? I feel like the yacht has certainly made its way out into the Pacific in the past. What are we thinking? When's Jerry get to town, and how will he arrive?
Yeah, I'm expecting him to touch down on Thursday for NFL honors. He typically comes out for that and then flies right back out. So he'll take the private jet in, and then he'll take a black truck or something down here to downtown San Francisco, and he'll hit the plane right after, most likely.
What is y'all's access to the honors, the NFL honors? What's everybody there? How will y'all handle that? Can you crowd in there by the red carpet and do some interviews?
Exactly, and that's how it's going to go. Red carpet access, although apparently the space is a lot more limited this year, and they've already denied me red carpet access. So I'm going to need Dallas Cowboys PR to pull through, and so we can get them outside or something.
Man, let me know if I need to talk to somebody there. Nick, you deserve red carpet access.
It's not just me. Joe Hoyt from Dallas Morning News dealing with the same issue, and so I'm like, man, this is going to be. We might have to tell Jerry, hey, meet us at the McDonald's down the street. We'll buy you a cheeseburger or something.
Well, I understand with Joe, because Joe could not find a way to Mobile for the Senior Bowl. You found a way out there, and I am anxious to I want to hear your thoughts on the Cowboys staff, but your Senior Bowl trip. there were probably a few players you're like, oh, dang, I wish I could have seen this guy. But then you get there and you're like, well, there are a lot of great players here. And it honestly allows you maybe even to focus on more. I do have to ask you, first of all, I got to do my Baylor thing. Sawyer Robertson and Josh Cameron were at the Senior Bowl and performed. And so I don't want to – I think Baylor people see some highlights from Cameron and see, oh, he had a great first day. But we don't see the full picture. And we probably have the green and gold tinge sunglasses when we look at these things. Those two players, can you bring us up to date on how they performed and what the general consensus was of what their week went like?
Yeah, these are two kids that I was able to cover in their recruiting days as well. So it's been cool to see their journey kind of progress to this point. Anybody with the green and gold tinted glasses looking at Josh Cameron, I think that was everybody in Mobile. Josh Cameron had an awesome week down there, and in the meetings he was fantastic too. He's not only a great player, but he's a great person. And there's confidence that he's not only going to get drafted, but maybe even early day 3. I think he is a guy who not only provides you immediate special teams value in the NFL, a guy that'll make the 53-man roster immediately in the NFL, but also a guy that can give you that, clutch third down catch that you're going to need from a wide receiver 4 or a wide receiver 5 on a roster. I think that's his starting point in the NFL, and we'll see where it goes. It kind of reminds me of the conversations we had about Ryan Flanoy when he was coming out of Southeast Missouri State, the Cowboys receiver, and now he's worked his way up to wide receiver 3 behind CD and Pickens. And so I see a similar type of trajectory for Josh Cameron. I think he's just a dog. He's physical. He's tough. And that's what you're going to need in the league, and he's mature, and that's definitely what you're going to need in the league. As far as Sawyer Robertson goes, I think he'll be a day 3 guy as well. Somebody will take him as a project. I mean, he's got tools. Like there is something to work with Sawyer Robertson, but I don't know if the ceiling is as high to where you can expect him to be an NFL starter. But I think he does have good backup potential. I was actually talking to a scout on my way out of Mobile about the quarterbacks, and he was like, look, it's not a great quarterback group out here, but I like Sawyer, and I like Diego Pavia is what he said too. Diego Pavia had a good week in Mobile. But other than that, I think Sawyer Robertson will benefit from it not being a great quarterback class, and so he'll probably go around earlier than maybe he would in other years. But I still think he's worth a swing because I think he can provide good depth to a quarterback room.
Did Diego Pavia do a little bit better in terms of, did he appear a little more humble than some of the stuff he did leading up or post Heisman?
Definitely. Yeah, there were no clubs in Mobile that got the bottle service saying, F the Shrine Bowl.
From a Cowboy standpoint, as you were kind of thinking about, them having the 12th and 20th pick, we saw some of the risers, maybe even some of the guys that didn't impress us quite as much. But you were particularly, I would imagine, looking at anything on defense.
Yeah.
Who were a few players that really grabbed your attention out there when you're thinking about those 2 Cowboys first-round picks?
Yeah, I will say this Senior Bowl group was not as impressive as it's been as far as first-rounders go. I could really only look at 2 or 3 guys that played the Senior Bowl that I think are first-round type talents. One of them that has been mocked to Dallas by NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah is Colton Hood, the corner out of Tennessee. I'm not that big of a fan, not a first-round pick fan of Colton Hood, but there were moments where he shined in Mobile. But I think the Mobile experience this year was probably more so for finding those day 3 gems. And there's some really good day 2 talent too, which, if the Cowboys, if they trade out of one of those picks in the first round and pick up day 2 capital, I think there's going to be some depth there. But Matt, to be completely honest with you, I'm just not a big fan of this draft class overall. Like I don't think the top is that sexy. I don't think it's that deep. I think there are good players in this draft. There's good players in every draft. But if we're comparing it to years past, I just feel like, this is an unfortunate year to have 2 first-round picks, in my opinion.
Okay. And did any of these, any Hoosiers show up out there that grabbed your attention at all? Because the producer of this fine show is coming off a national title. And I think the guy with the long hair there with the Hoosiers cap on, did Pons or anybody, stand out there?
It was the running back. Is it Black? Kalen Black? He came out there and he performed, and he was good. It's really impressive to see him, and then a couple Miami guys made the trip too. it was cool to see those guys perform like fresh off of the national championship. It was pretty impressive to see.
You didn't see the Miami kid. Those guys weren't showing up there. The Miami edge guys.
No, unfortunately, we didn't get them. We didn't get David Bailey either, the edge out of Texas Tech. I will say one of the guys that I was excited to see and I was able to get eyes on was the other edge at Texas Tech, Romello Height.
Yeah.
And he had a good week. He did, absolutely. I think picking him at 20 would be a little rich. Do I think he's a first-round pick, though? Yeah, probably in the back end somewhere. But I am leaning more toward these safeties when you look at these first-round picks. And I know safety is not a sexy position to take in the first round. But you look at Caleb Downs, if he's there at 12, you run that card to the table. Dylan Thieneman at 20, I think makes sense too. The safety out of Oregon, hard hitter, can step up and play in the backfield too. I think could give you nickel flexibility. Both guys, I feel like, could give you nickel flexibility. So I wonder how they value these safeties moving forward. I'd also throw in AJ Halsey out of LSU.
All right, and interesting to think about too, Nick. This staff that the Cowboys have put together. Christian Parker, the defensive coordinator. We've talked to you about him. But you were kind of interested to see what kind of staff he would put together. And, well, you've got college people. I mean, there's, it's a variety. I thought it was interesting, this latest one, as the outside linebacker coach that comes from USC. You certainly had some thoughts on him. Who were a couple of these hires? Who was it? Ryan? Was it Ryan?
Smith.
Ryan Smith, yeah. I wanted to call him Ryan Clark, but that's a guy on ESPN. Who were a couple of these hires? I know they got a couple things to finish up, but that kind of grabbed your attention the most.
Yeah, I think the addition of Derek Ansley as the pass game coordinator, that's going to be fascinating to see how he works with Christian Parker. But you mentioned Chidera Uzo-Deribe, the outside linebackers coach coming from Georgia, who will serve the same role on this Cowboy staff. I was curious. I had asked a few of the defensive guys that have made the trip out here to San Francisco. I was like, do you guys feel like you need a pass rush specialist or do you need a run game coordinator? Which is more important? And, it's kind of split voting. I don't think there's a wrong answer there, but I felt like I got the most substance out of the guys with the pass rush specialist answer. It's like, hey, we're going to be able to rebuild this edge room because only Donovan Ezeraku and James Houston are coming back as of today. They're going to be able to rebuild it not only with young talent, but with veterans as well. It's like, get a guy in there that'll be able to develop that pass rush plan day one, and they're ready to roll. They feel like they have their run stoppers. Osa Digizua, Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, whoever they put in the middle there at linebacker should be able to help. But overall, it's good to see a guy like Chigera Uzo-Deribe because of the guys he's worked with, not only Michael Williams and Jalen Walker, but even this last year in the off-ball department of C.J. Allen. So I think this staff is slowly coming together, and I wouldn't rule out Zach Orr just yet as a linebackers coach / run game coordinator. They could end up with both, and so this staff is it's looking pretty good. We didn't even ask for a extensive search of the assistants, but we're getting it anyway.
When Jerry said he would bust the budget, and now we know what the salary cap's going to be, and we know the additional $30 million that they have to work with. Where are the Cowboys? Like, what's roughly how much they have to work with? And again, they're always up for restructuring things as well. But as they sit now, they could be pretty aggressive if they wanted to, right?
Yeah, there are freedoms to be able to allow that, not only just restructuring Dak and CD, but that alone will create enough space to where they can at least fill depth holes in free agency. How aggressive they are in free agency is mostly going to be determined by some of these cap casualties that they look around and try to identify. If it's a guy like Malik Hooker or Terrence Steele, how do they rework Kenny Clark's contract? Because that's definitely going to have to be discussed. Or even an extension for Quinnen Williams. I think that's on the table as well. If a couple of those things happen, they should be able to swing for a guy like Nakobe Dean, who is coming from that Philadelphia defense, understands Christian Parker and what he asks of his guys. And he's going to be up for, $9, $10, $11 million per year. And I think if they're able to make a couple of those moves, they'll be able to sign a guy like that. I also look at a guy like Joseph Osai, edge rusher out of the Cincinnati Bengals, who came out of Texas. He's a Conroe Oak Ridge product as well. I'd be curious to see what the market looks like for him at $8, $9, $10 million range, because he's had a couple of really good years with the Bengals. So they need veterans in each of these position groups, no doubt. How much they actually end up spending for these guys, I think that's going to be determined by, some of the things they do outside of the CD and DAC restructures. And we'll go from there and see what that looks like.
All right. What's the people would want to know? What's the strangest or the biggest celebrity, with either athlete or actor or comedian, whatever, you've seen at Radio Row? And if you're smart, you won't spend like too much time there, but I know you at least have to swing through every now and then. You got radio buds that I'm sure are hanging out down there. Anything stand out to you so far?
No, I actually just walk around Radio Row because you never know who you're going to bump into and can get a quick interview with. This year doesn't have really the stars. There's just not any that pumped. I saw Joe Montana today, and I thought that was really cool. But aside from that, man, it's been who would you expect? Charles Haley, Michael Irvin. You expect those guys to be out here, and like the current guys like Cam Newton or Derrick Henry, whatever it may be. So nobody too surprising, I would say.
All right, don't do what I did Charles Haley one time when he was opening up about his mental illness issues, and he said, and he was trying to think of what he had. He was like, I was struggling with, and me being me, I helpfully said schizophrenia. Like trying to help guess his diagnosis.
And he said, who said that?
Charles was. It was like during a actual radio interview. Unfortunately, I've been friends with him for years, and so. But he did say on the air, "I'll reach over there and wring your neck, Mosley," or something like that. But yeah, I was not. It wasn't my greatest moment. It was kind of, and I've had a few of those in radio, as live radio over the years. Any thoughts, by the way, Nick? I don't want to short you on. Anthony Davis, big trade goes down. Mavericks get 2 first-round picks, and the always fun financial flexibility, right? That's why most fans come to the AAC. They want to see a financial flexible team on the floor. But again, this Cooper Flag thing has been very, very fun to watch, especially here recently. He's been going off. But any thoughts on Anthony Davis and what they got for him?
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily wash the stink off of the Luka trade, but it kind of helps look toward the future and past that a little bit with the new guys that are making those decisions. But this is something that works for both sides. For Washington, you got a Trae Young, Anthony Davis, and Trae Johnson core that I think can work for you for the future. And they're not going to be playoff contenders, but they might sneak in and finally make the playoffs, which by Wizards standards, that's all they're aiming for. And then you mentioned Dallas, so much cap flexibility after this season. They're going to have a healthy Kyrie Irving. We'll see what's up with Klay Thompson, and then Cooper Flag, who's obviously been fantastic. I think it would be an attractive spot for a big-name free agent, and Dallas should be able to do their due diligence there.
All right, and since your love of high school, by the way, realignment happens the other day, and I guess DeSoto's actually going to accept going down to 5A. I mean, that's weird because I think in the past they actually preferred and they asked to stay in 6A because they're so dang competitive. Highland Park's the other way. Not that they're not competitive, but they find a way, even when they go up to 6A, they find a way to get back to 5A. Anything that you saw there in realignment? By the way, my Lake Cowens Wildcats back with the Plano schools, the Richardson schools. Coppell, I think, is in there. So they finally got the Irving schools out of there, which sadly are just horrific now. But anything about realignment that grabbed your attention?
Man, how Alito ended up ducking the North Crowley, Duncanville, Waxahachie district is beyond me. There is some under the table dealing going on there. I am convinced of it. Alito has this 12-year district winning game streak that's well into the triple digits, and the UIL, they're like, no, we're not going to jeopardize that. We're going to send you to the Arlington schools, and hey, we'll throw a Mansfield school in there. And obviously, it's the worst one. So I don't know how Alito does it, but you can go ahead and add 14 more games to their district winning streak. It's ridiculous.
Sir, the Arlington High School, my old buddy from Baylor, Scott Peach, they're gonna find a way. They were gonna find a way to end the terrible rain. Colts. They can do it. Nick, thank you. Take a picture at the NFL Honors. I think it'd be funny and it'd be good on Twitter for you and Joe. Don't give Joe the idea because he'll do it. But like how far you are away from the red carpet. You need to do some picture to kind of show how they.
Hopefully we make it in. Hey, we're gonna try and bust it. We're gonna figure out a break into this thing.
I think you got a chance. You'd be like Todd Archer. I'll tell you that story sometime. But I had to let Todd under the. I had to open, the red, whatever the the deal that's surrounding the red carpet.
Yeah.
I raised it up, and in came Todd. All right, that was back in the day. Nick, thank you very much, sir.
Appreciate you, fellas. Y'all have a good one.
All right, there he goes. Nick Harris from the Super Bowl, Fort Worth Star-Telegram. And good for you there, Kev. He did like that running back. Which one did he say? Because Indiana had two great running backs.
Is not Roman Hemby, who was like the big NIL last season.
Who's number
from
3?
Maryland.
Who's number 3?
Well, Kalon Black is number 8. It could look like number 3.
Oh, I thought there was a number 3 that was running back.
Hemby number 1. Black was number 8.
Okay.
They actually lost their third string running back, who's also really good. But Kalon is one of the JMU transfers from a couple years ago with Signetti. Actually, I got to give credit to my wife Alexis, who very first game she was like, "Black, he's your man," and sure enough, he's like that. He's built like a little pinball. Really strong, can bounce off a lot of things, but good speed too.
Do you guys have an Alexis at the house?
You talking about the one from the Amazon people?
Yeah,
that's Alexa. Yeah.
Oh, that's right, but it still could be confusing.
Right.
If you said,
Yep.
Alexa.
It can be.
Yeah.
We actually renamed all of them because you can provide.
Okay.
So we renamed
something
them
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I still don't really have that available. Now, Alexis also reminds me, I think that was one of the characters from Schitt's Creek. I don't know if you ever watched.
I think so.
Yeah, very, very funny. We lost the great Catherine O'Hara. I don't think I've brought that up. Oh, my gosh.
Yep.
What a great comedic actress. In fact, to honor the great Catherine O'Hara, I don't think it was honoring her. It's just kind of remembering her. Last night we were watching Best in Show. Extremely funny. And, of course, most people know her from Home Alone. But, she was in such a lot of other great movies over the years and very, very funny, those Christopher Guest movies. Best in Show, For Your Consideration, Waiting for Guffman, the A Mighty Wind. Oh, Spinal Tap I don't think she was in, but that was Christopher Guest. And I think Michael McKean probably. But anyway, all those guys. Fred Willard was in some of those movies. Parker Posey. Very, very funny. Oh, good stuff there, man. From Nick Harris coming to us from the Media Center at the Super Bowl. I mean, you would think, that our guys like Souza and Cam would be wanting to jump on. I can't even get in touch with them. But Nick Harris from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, Kev, came through for us in a big way. Do I really want to go back to Radio Row? Part of me, yes. Part of me, no, to be honest with you. I did it a lot of years. It's ridiculous. And and it sounds like the media party was awful. Ooh, that sounds bad, but fun to have Nick on. And man, he's good on a lot of different topics. Senior Bowl, George Pickens, everything going on there, Radio Row. So nice to have him, and good stuff from Nick from San Francisco, where we were not that long ago. I feel like we had a San Francisco Super Bowl only like 10 years ago, 11 or 12 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. We were out there. It was when that stadium was like brand new out Santa Clara. All right. It is the Mosley Show. And okay, we've got more for you. I was going to play some of, I've got a little more Campus Confidential, but I got to get back into this trade because it will save Scott. I really wanted to let you hear some more of Scott Drew as we get you ready for Baylor in Colorado tonight. But this trade with with Anthony Davis, this Mavs trade, is so big on a lot of fronts because it kind of ends. We'll never forget the great Luka and how horrific all that was. But another sad part of it was this great player they got for him, but that couldn't play and they should have known it because he'd missed a lot of games in the past, and he hasn't played that many games for the Mavericks. In fact, this year alone, they've played about 50 games, 50 games, and he's only played in 20 of them. And I'm talking, of course, of Anthony Davis. They've traded him away. We'll tell you what they've received for Anthony Davis and what the future holds for Cooper Flagg and the Dallas Mavericks. We'll do that next.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we were hoping Coach Collin would bring that championship mindset to do whatever she has to do to take our workplace culture to the next level.
Well, these donuts are pretty good.
Guys, how we doing?
We're good, Coach.
Craig! What are you doing?
What do you mean?
You have to dunk it.
So far, I think our employees are really enjoying it.
Not everything's a basketball thing.
Did you say something, Craig?
No, ma'am.
That's what I thought.
Dude, I think she likes you.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia. Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
WhyPersonalLoans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit PersonalLoans.com today.
This is what $500,000 in a duffel bag looks like. Actually not real. That's because it's actually prop money. It looks realistic from a distance, but up close you can see it says for motion picture purposes. Visit PropMoney.com today to get your money seen or money shot right with Prop Money Inc.
With San owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. U-Like.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit VivoSun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.
We are back. It's the Mosley Show. Thank you, Central National Bank, for everything that you do. And we got the Bears, Colorado. We got so much going on. We got Baylor women playing. Got a lot going on. And, of course, Central National Bank, CNB, huge partner with Baylor women's basketball. So that is good stuff. And we got so we'll watch Baylor and Colorado at home tonight. Baylor women playing tonight. I mean, there's just a lot happening, and so we'll need to react to all that. We'll also have our new CNB commercials to share with you very, very soon. All right, it is time, and it happened earlier today. And Kev, I think it would be appropriate to play the breaking news again, since it's such a big deal from earlier today. Our new breaking news sounder for now. We had to decide if we're going to stick with that or not. Mavs traded 10-time NBA All-Star Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum to the Wizards for Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley III. Here's the key part: 2 first-round picks and 3 second-rounders. All right. It's also key that as our man Bobby Marks is talking about, that they are going to end up with way more financial flexibility to do what they need to do and to get more assets. And we're talking as much as going into next season, it immediately opens up huge financial flexibility to the point where, I mean, this deadline ends tomorrow. And so you could move more players and you could try to bring on more assets. And people are interested in, I don't know, Gafford, Najee Marshall, the Max Christie. There are other players on this team. Williams, I'm sure there would be some interest in the young Williams, among others. Also, just in the past hour since we've been on, the Bulls are trading Kobe White and Mike Conley to the Hornets for Colin Sexton, who was playing some. We saw him the other night. Ousmane Dang and 3 second-round picks, sources tell ESPN. And then the Hornets acquired Dang and a second-rounder from the OKC Thunder for Mason Plumlee. Okay, those things are not, Kobe White has been fine. Same for Sexton. I would say they're both capable of scoring a lot, but both probably could benefit from a change in location. So, that's not. Also in the middle of this, Kevin, Lakers center Jackson Hayes has been suspended 1 game for pushing a Wizards mascot. You can't be pushing mascots. Give me a break. Now, here's what I was talking about.
Even bigger than that, though, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has an abdominal strain, and he's going to be reevaluated during the All-Star break. So he's at least out for a little bit.
How long are they saying? How long are they saying? Just we'll reevaluate around the All-Star break?
Yeah. So that's,
there's one of your teams that obviously the defending champs. That is huge. Don't roll your eyes at me. I know they beat your team, but you can't deny that it's correct.
Wouldn't have happened had the injury not happened. Guarantee it.
I don't know. I mean, that was headed that way even before the injury.
No. Game 7, Hallie scored 9 points in 7 minutes, thing he had never done all season. He was ready to just go off. They were still up 1 point at halftime without him.
All right. Bottom line is OKC won a title, and their great player is
illegitimately,
now
yes,
down for the count. It's not illegitimate. Stop. Goodness gracious. Some of your takes today. I will say this. Do not. We'll have to. What I'm going to do for you, I'm going to edit out what you said about Cooper Flagg earlier, and we're not going to share that with the rest of America. All right? Because I care about you too much to let you go around saying things like that.
I will continue to say it.
Don't stick with it.
Yes.
No. You take my. Every once in a while, you need to go to like a big brother type mentor person like that I am to you. And you go, Mosley's probably right. I probably shouldn't be going around saying that. I'm just saying you want to keep credibility in your career. And if you go around saying things like that, and again, I'm not going to repeat it, it undermines your own credibility because it's not a legitimate take. All right, here's the deal.
Things like the Big Ten is the best football conference in America.
That's fine.
I got trashed for that all season.
Well, okay,
and I was right.
But you can defend that one. Your one from earlier involving Cooper Flagg is indefensible. All right, here we go. The Mavericks now have the resources, according to Bobby Marks. And we'll get. I am interested to see what Shams had to say about this Anthony Davis because Kevin has that for us, and we'll check on that in a minute. We're just going to finish out the show today with this because this is the big news for the Mavericks, and at least to our audience, this is the big one. All right, this is and as people said, trade deadline stunner. A trade deadline stunner is the Mavs trade Anthony Davis to the Wizards. I love that he has to put on a Wizards uniform. And this is not like the Wizards are going to move him or whatever. This is the Wizards saying, hey, man, we can get this incredible player and pair him with Trae Young and our young talent, and we could be good next year. We could compete. Sadly, the Washington Post, a newspaper that would have covered this trade like crazy, announced today that they're throwing out their sports staff. They're just doing away with all of it. Wow. Way to go, guys. Way to just be idiots. Way to take like some of your most accomplished writers in the whole newspaper and just trash it. Just set it on fire. The Washington Post, the place of Bradley, of Woodward and Bernstein, the people that broke Watergate, one of the great news organizations of the past 100 years. And you're going to trash and burn up your sports department. Nice job, guys. Really nice. Well done. All right, Mavs. Now, this is interesting to me. The Mavs now have the resources, starting with a likely lottery pick and a late first-round pick, and financial/roster resources to build their roster around Cooper Flagg. Right now, it's Cooper. You got Kyrie possibly returning at some point, maybe not this season. But you got Najee Marshall. You've got P.J. Washington. You do have interesting assets and players to try to work around. Now, the tradable assets are anybody not named Cooper Flagg. There's nobody. There's nothing precious on this roster. I love Najee Marshall as much as the next guy. Trade him if you can get something great for him. Come on. You can't, Cooper likes Najee Marshall. Well, that's fine. That's fine. I like Najee Marshall too. But everybody other than Cooper is subject to be moved. All right? I like P.J. Washington as next. But if somebody came in, wanted to do something stupid, let them do it. Dallas now has $150 million in guaranteed money next year, well below the tax and apron. For this season, Dallas drops below the luxury tax in both aprons. They have flexibility in the next 24 hours to continue building up their draft assets. Okay. This is all very interesting, what's going on with the Dallas Mavericks as we speak. But the stench of that trade, it'll always be there. Trading Luka, trading a no doubt future Hall of Famer, a man that had just led you along with Kyrie to the NBA Finals, and they traded him for no reason other than, we didn't know if he would do the Supermax. Well, we didn't know if we wanted to do a Supermax with a guy who we didn't trust his conditioning. We thought he might get injured. But you traded him for a guy who's always injured. And it's not like, we didn't know AD was injury prone. He had been. Look at just the previous years. Look at the previous season. How many games did he miss? The previous season, out of 82 games. Did he miss at least 20 games? I guarantee you he did. They'll probably say, that's the season, Matt. He played 70 games. Oh, my gosh. What, once in his career? Pathetic. Okay, the Raptors did make a trade. 1 minute ago, Shams just put this up 2 minutes ago. The Clippers, Brooklyn Nets, and Raptors have agreed on a multi-team trade sending Chris Paul to the Raptors and Ochai Agbaji, the old Kansas player, a 2032 Raptors second rounder in cash to the Nets. Sources tell ESPN. The Raptors, who are actually pretty good this year, like 30-21 or something like that, Raptors are playing pretty well. Chris Paul, come on, buddy. And then they get Ochai Agbaji. Okay. All right. So that happened. And then, of course, from an hour ago, as Kevin was talking about, Thunder guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA to you, sustained abdominal strain and will be reevaluated following the All-Star break. All right. I'm also looking at all this Bobby Marks stuff about all that. So right now, let's see. Right now, the Mavs starting five is Brandon Williams, Max Christie, Cooper Flagg, P.J. Washington, and Gafford. The reserves are Klay Thompson, Kyrie Irving. They now have A.J. Johnson comes over in this trade. Malachi Branham came over, and Chris Middleton. Now, let's not forget they have Najee Marshall, Caleb Martin, Marvin Bagley III, Dwight Powell, and DL3, Derek Lively III. All right. So incoming first, tradable ones, future twos, that all the breakdown. This is interesting to me. I'm now looking at their roster. They also have on those two-way contracts, Cisse, Nembhard, and Kelly. And Nembhard and Cisse have been playing with the NBA squad quite a bit. All right. Nembhard, had that incredible run for a little bit, and he was getting to play a lot. So I'm looking at projected salary, tax threshold, incoming, the draft assets that they have. Okay. This is very, very interesting. They have some exceptions, disabled players, the 2.6 million and 1.1 million exceptions on here. They have 3 two-way players. They have 15 guaranteed guys on the roster right now. Let me look at the starting five, and then and then all those players I just mentioned. Some of those guys they'll just cut or they'll buy out. There may be some buyouts. We'll need to find out kind of how they're going to handle like a Chris Middleton, 34-year-old guy. I mean, they already have a 34-year-old guy in Klay Thompson. So I'm looking at all these players, and let's not forget Kyrie Irving sitting there trying to come back from this injury right now as we speak. So I'm just looking at this Mavs roster and what it would represent for the rest of this season and then moving forward. So again, just an amazing deal that again, it's not earth-shattering. The nice thing about the picks that they got, one is a future 2030. I think that's the Warriors protected pick in 2030. The bigger one is they get the OKC's pick in the first round. All right, that comes with what they just did for Anthony Davis. That means that in this draft coming up, if the Mavs just do a good job of tanking, which I don't know, Cooper Flagg's not helping in that respect because he scores so dang much. But if they can just tank the rest of the season, they could get another lottery pick to go along with a late first-round pick. And let's not act – this is a stacked 2026 draft class. In fact, Baylor has 2 players on a bad team right now that are projected at like 21 and 22. That would be the Tunde Yesufu and Cameron Carr that are projected to be somewhere in that 20 to 25 range. Now, with a guy like Cam Carr, who knows? Yes, he could be the 21st pick. He could stay in college, or he could go later, and he could end up being in the 25 to 30 range, which the Mavericks could get a player like that. But it's a good draft to have 2 picks. 2027, being told Not a good draft. Not great prospects. Now, that doesn't mean we won't get to 2027 and we'll go, look at this guy. Look at this guy playing for Baylor. Look at this guy at BYU. Look at this guy at Louisville, wherever. That all could happen. Wow. Man, lots going on. And as I just told you, Chris Paul being traded to the Raptors. We had heard the Mavericks and Raptors were talking about Anthony Davis, but the Raptors get Chris Paul. What does that mean? Well, he's more at this age, just a veteran leader type who can kind of show up and maybe hopefully be a good example to your younger players. Although, my gosh, talk to the team he's just coming from about that. Talk to that team about like how big a deal he is. All right, as we get ready to shut down, and Kevin, jump on here in a second, and you had a couple more college basketball nuggets to bounce off of me. We can do that as we shut down the show. Sixers earlier today traded McCain to OKC. They traded Jared McCain, if that's who I think it is, that's the old Duke player, to the OKC Thunder for a 2026 Rockets first-round pick and 3 second-round picks. What am I missing here? Is Jared McCain? He was a 16th overall pick in the 2024 draft, joins the reigning NBA champions after averaging 6.6, 2 rebounds, and 1.7 assists, 16 8-point minutes per game for the Sixers. Why is our first-round pick in this deal? Traded to the OKC Thunder for a 2026 Rockets first-round pick and 3 second-round picks. How are the Sixers getting a first-round pick for Jared McCain? Yeah, it just further evidence of the horrific nature of that Luka trade. For the 76ers, the trade allows them to receive assets, clear space, and give them flexibility to bring Quentin Grimes back in free agency. Another Mavericks screw up. Quentin Grimes, they love him, scoring a ton, comes off the bench, plays great for them, behind those great guards, VJ and Tyrese Maxey. Comes on the heels of Thunder guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander suffering an abdominal strain during Tuesday's game. He'll be reevaluated. The Thunder later sent Dang and a second-round pick to the Hornets in exchange for Mason Plumlee. Kevin, make it make sense. I mean, Sixers are just out there, just like, I'll tell you what we'd like. Daryl Morey's just out there like, we'd kind of like a first-round pick back. For Jared McCain? What? This has to be a deal where a team desperately needed some of those expiring contracts and assets to do what they needed to do. And that's why they were willing to get that, to send that first round pick back. But Lord, help us all. Jared McCain? He's an okay player. He really is. I remember him at Duke. He was a nice player.
Trade deadline makes people do crazy things.
He used to play with a guy named Jeremy Roach. Anybody remember him?
Mm-hmm.
The old Bears brought him in, and it did not work out. McCain was the better player, obviously, for Duke. They had Filipowski, I think, on that team as well. That Duke team that had some of those guys, I got to see them play the Bears in Madison Square Garden right before Christmas a couple of years ago. Oh, that was fun. That was fun. Taking the family to New York, Very, very fun stuff. Okay, Kev, sorry. I mean, we've blown past our allotted times. Did you have a couple of college things you wanted to bounce off of me real quick?
Yes. Okay. So I got a yes or a no question and then a pick 'em. All right. For tonight, does UCF have a chance at Houston?
The game is in the land of the Houston Cougar? Is that what you're telling me?
Yep.
The answer is no.
Okay.
And I mean, and if I said things like no, that would be what I would say. I would add that. Houston may win by 25 points.
All right. And then women's basketball tonight. Number 22, Maryland at number 12, Michigan State. Who's going to win?
At Michigan State?
At Michigan State.
Michigan State.
All right.
Michigan State. On National Girls in Sports Day.
Yeah,
what's the actual name for it? Is that right?
It is National Girls and Women in Sports Day, yes.
Girls and Women in Sports. And we love college women's basketball. I'm not going to pretend that I like the WNBA because I don't know anything about it other than whatever Caitlin Clark's up to. But we do love, those of us with daughters especially, love women's sports. And I love watching my daughter play basketball and volleyball. And then she became a big-time cheerleader at Lake Highlands High School, was the varsity cheer captain. And that right there was fun. Those were fun times, man. Women in sports. And when it comes to cheerleading, man, those are great, great athletes. So that is absolutely part of the whole sports realm. And you ADs and football coaches out there need to kind of work better with the cheerleaders. Man, they're there to support your players and everything. So all of y'all need to make sure you're always honoring that group, okay? If you're not, you better start doing it now. All right. Although, and by the way, don't get it misconstrued. I thought that group did a great job at Lake Highlands of doing that. I'm just talking about in general. It's the Mosley Show. We got to do some editing to this show to kind of take care of something Kevin said earlier. It was worse than an expletive. It was worse than it was a highly offensive sports take. I was highly offended by it. And I think most people will be. So we'll go back, we'll edit that out, and then we'll send this episode into the ether. We'll send it into the world, and we'll just see what happens to it. All right? It's the Mosley Show. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin Hall. Thank you to our great sponsors. Thank you to something we like to call Brazos Landing. The Landing. We land here every day. The Bang Bang Shrimp, the BLT, the chicken tenders, whatever the case, the steak, the ribeye. The ribeye there, unbelievable. That's a beautiful filet. And I get some of those mashed potatoes, veggies, and it is exquisite. Thank you. Thank you, Brazos Landing. Thank you for what you do. And thank you, Alan Samuels. I mean, the trucks on that lot, beautiful. It's unbelievable. Thank you, Ted Teague. Thank you for your staff, and thank you, Patient Direct. More on them to come. Thank you, Ascension, and thank you, Central National Bank. Tomorrow's Thursday, so that means we'll do our Schmaltz's trivia. We'll have Trivia Thursday, Schmaltz's trivia. Kevin, that gives you 24 hours from right now, 24 hours, less than 24 hours, to come up with our trivia question. It can involve Indiana Pacers. It can involve anything you want, Kevin. The world is your oyster. It's the Mosley Show. We'll be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Kevin, did you have anybody you need to wish a happy birthday to or anybody? I just want to make sure I don't short anything. I was trying to think if anybody in my family. Happy birthday to my niece, Millie, from the other day. Her birthday, we celebrated, it was right around the 31st. Anybody, Kevin, that you need to shout out?
It was my now 4-year-old's birthday on Monday, on Groundhog Day.
Monday, Groundhog Day. Can we say your child's name, or would you prefer not to?
Oh, it's Magnolia. Not named after anything related to Waco whatsoever. But
you did, yeah. You were living here when you named her Magnolia,
right?
So you knew about Magnolia, but you're saying it didn't inspire the name.
No. She was named by Liam, who you've met, our UMHB student. So we let him pick the name.
Wow. Did you give him a few to pick from? Or did he get to just come up with it on his own?
So what we did was, because we have so many kids, what we did was we didn't tell anybody the gender, and we let the girls pick the boy's first name and the girls.
Boys do the girls.
And the girl's middle name. The boys got to pick the girl's first name and the boy's middle name. And so Liam came up with Magnolias. That's what it was.
It's a beautiful name, but what if you had to come up with something you guys did not like at all?
Oh, we would have. I mean, we're the
you
still
edited.
Yeah. Just like you want to do to my flag take.
Gone. If that ever, listen, you will be off the show if that ever is uttered again. Kevin Hall, ladies and gentlemen. Hoosier Hall. Hoosiers.
It's getting better. Way to go.
Yeah, thank you. Working on it a little bit. Okay, we got to go. Okay, it's like 2 hours. That was bonus coverage. Good night.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. And when it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. With the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud.
Here's a tip. Never deposit someone else's money into your bank account. Scammers will send you money or overpay you and then ask you to refund a portion of the money back to them. This is a scam.
This message is brought to you by Central National Bank.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.